This is going to be my fantasy football strategy going into 2026. So today can be a very big day. I potentially will be starting a channel with two of my friends on fantasy football, and I more than likely assume we will stick to it for the rest of the season. That's the goal. I hope so. So this will be the first time that it's not just going to be me on the camera, it'll be me with other people, which I'm kind of excited for. I want to prepare for the draft. I don't know how serious they're taking this draft, but I want to genuinely become one of the greatest fantasy football players of all time. And I'm going to be transparent with myself, and I'm going to be logistical, analytical, all that kind of stuff. And I want to tell you how I plan on drafting going into the year. So let's address how it's normally looked. Drafting and sources of truth. Most people, just consumers and regular players, are going to do this. They're going to watch some content, whether it's TikTok slop or YouTube slop of creators or experts in this niche, and then they're going to give their opinions on hit rate data, like just the NFL stats, the basic NFL stats, and then they're going to give their rankings, and then that's how most people will draft, is just look at experts or creators' rankings. It's not very original, it's pretty common, and it's pretty unsuccessful. The other one being maybe you are someone who creates your own rankings. Maybe you look at the data yourself, you look at all the players, matchups, or, strength of schedule, this, that, and the third, and you create your own true projections based off of probably just other basic NFL stats. Or maybe you were someone like myself in the previous years where you'll use a site like Fantasy Pros where you take a bunch of experts and then you take the average of maybe the accurate ones and then you come up with a ranking system like that. And I'll tell you all of these things. I've tried all of them. Out of like the 5 or 6 different leagues that I've been in, or seasons, I guess I would say, I've only won one. And I will be fair and say that there was a lot of people that I took advantage in that league, specifically like people that weren't very good, and so I fleeced them with trades and stuff, and so I won't really give that one credit. That was kind of just a fluke. The other real competitive ones I have not won yet. And so I want to explain my source of truth going into this. I'm going to talk about this kind of concept with sports books and sports betting, so it's going to tie back into what I'm talking about with fantasy. Don't get lost. Don't think that I'm trying to promote betting in any way. Really what I'm just talking about is this. Sports books have very, very accurate projections for a few reasons. Sports books, even just, we'll talk about their opening lines. When they open a bet, what their line is set at and what the value is, what the price is going to be very accurate. It's not going to be like to the T, but it's going to be a lot more accurate than most experts will be, most creators will be, and most just regular people. They got a lot more money to invest in systems, algorithms, to look at a lot more advanced stats than we can. More than just the regular NFL stats. The reason that it's even more than just that in itself is this. These types of platforms encourage professional users for a couple of reasons. One, because they have very high limits, meaning that you can place a lot more money on these platforms than any other betting sites. Two, they do not limit or ban you for being a profitable customer. Like most platforms, they will limit or ban you if you're profitable. With these ones, they will not. And what that means is they will continue to get profitable / sharp and correct information on games and outcomes and predictions. And what they do with this information is they change their own lines to sharpen their own lines, almost like a sword. It continues to get sharper and sharper and sharper the more information you get. And once again, I would just like to add, there's no way that you're going to convince someone to think that there's less information considered in these prices than just what the experts are looking at. I can tell you this, I imagine even the opening lines are more sharp than the experts' rankings are ever going to be. But not only does it stay at that, but then you have this relationship where the sharp sportsbook gets the sharper data from the profile of the profitable customers to just sharpen it like a sword. And it's just going to get sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper. Now, this is how sportsbooks and their customers work, at least the sharp sportsbooks. And that's why I believe that this will be a very successful season. I have high hopes because I've invested a lot of thought into this. And I try to be transparent with myself and not act like I'm some sort of genius. I'm not going to be able to just look at these numbers and turn that into like my rankings and become the most accurate person at perceiving basic NFL stats. What I understand is this, is that those stats are not only going to be looked over and considered by a lot of professionals at the sports books, but a lot of sharp profiled customers. And those customers, this could be their full-time job. And you imagine that, me having like a full-time job outside of this, trying to compete with someone who is obviously doing something right. If a sharp sportsbook is moving their price because of their action, I'm not winning that battle. But what I could do is take the information of that relationship and take advantage of it. So I was researching and researching for multiple days, and I did find a website, and I'm going to show it right now. So I found this website, and to be honest with you, I don't know how confident I feel in it because it doesn't really show pricings or platforms where they got these prices from. Where they got these prices from. It could be from platforms that maybe I don't trust, like the player prop platforms like DraftKings or FanDuel or something like that. But to be honest with you, I do believe that those still will probably be a lot more accurate and unbiased than just looking at experts' rankings. But this is just an example of why it might matter, because these are odds, which I know that there is active odds currently for Offensive Player of the Year. I looked at Pinnacle recently. Pinnacle is one of those specific. Pinnacle and Circa is the big and true sharp sports books. Like, for example, when you think about cell phones and you're thinking about Samsung and Apple. It's the same thing for sharp sports books with Pinnacle and Circa. And if you look at their futures, you will actually be able to see that they do have Offensive Rookie of the Year up right here. And so the point in me bringing this up is just saying that I have hope that these projections might be accurate. I'm hoping that they favor the sharper platforms, because I know a lot of these specific like rushing and receiving stats aren't going to be very accurate because platforms like these are locked right now because it's not that close to the season yet. I imagine they're waiting till it gets closer to the season. But really, it's just a matter of trusting sharp sports books and their relationship with the customers. And just judging off the fact that most people are not going to be profitable on these sports books, and that has been proven because their lines and prices are very hard to beat because they're accurate. That is why I am going into this 2026 season. I'm going to be trying to trust Vegas. They have the most information. They have more information than the experts do. They have more information than I do. I know that for sure. That's how we're going into the season. Just as a little side note, as I'm looking at this, I'm actually surprised with how high Jeremiah Love has truly projected to be for this season. I know a lot of people and a lot of experts might be a little bit lower than that too. I do think that that's pretty fair for his ADP. I think he does fall around the second round or third round, and that's around the end of the second round for a 10-man league. But still, like, I think a lot of people are a lot lower on him just with NFL talk because they talk about how bad the Cardinals are and all this kind of stuff. I'm just kind of yapping right now. Either way, that is the plan going into this year and specifically going into tonight. I'm going to try to use these rankings as best as I can to make the best pick available. I might even start doing some underdog drafts, to be real with you.